those narratives that we have that, our differences are a weakness, or we're
Mhm.
too sensitive to be in the world, or
Mm.
we have these certain limitations. Can we work to reframe those stories as part of this process to maybe empower ourselves, to
Mhm.
bolster ourselves for the next conflict or the next struggle? How can that be part of that process, that healing process?
Yeah, we definitely can. I think one of the first steps is to notice.
Mm.
Like notice what those narratives are. Like we first, sometimes it starts off with just noticing patterns, right? There's certain patterns that might show up. I used to do this exercise in workshops where I said, notice certain patterns where you feel frustrated or limited in relationships, at work, or in maybe some third category, maybe in friendship dynamics or something like that, and see if you notice patterns across all three. So there's like this sort of becoming your own pattern noticer or whatever, right? You notice these
Yeah.
patterns because that's like data. It's like it helps you to see, okay, these things are showing up. And then when you peel back that layer, so one of my patterns is thinking that was definitely in all of these different environments, I felt like I was shrinking, like I needed to align my behavior and what I said to fit in with whatever the dominant narrative was. So if I was at work, then I would align with sort of model what other people were doing in
Mm.
relationships. Even if I disagreed with my partner, I would kind of find the best way I could to align because I didn't want to cause an issue. Friendships, I might not agree with what's going on or what's being said or feel like someone crossed my boundaries, but I felt, so what is the storyline beyond that, right? The storyline is what are we telling ourselves in those moments? And if we're really honest with ourselves and notice that, we can see I'm telling myself that my opinion, my preferences, my values, my needs don't matter.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy enough to take up space here. If I am seen as my true self, as this belief that I have or this value that I have that goes against the grain, I might lose my sense of belonging. I might
Mhm.
lose love. I might lose safety. We're not thinking all that stuff in the moment.
No.
We're just kind of like, but if you sit, and for me, again, the practice is writing helps me peel these layers back. It could be in therapy, you peel back these layers. It could be
Mhm.
in, conversation with a trusted loved one or friend. But for me, it was writing. I'm just like peeling back the layers, peeling back the layers. What's at the root of this? Like, what am I
Mhm.
telling myself that is causing me? Because our beliefs are just like thoughts that we have that like we think them enough that it becomes this like rooted belief, right?
Yep.
And then our actions come from those beliefs. So at the root of these patterns and storylines is like I'm not enough. Like
Mm.
I'm not content with myself. I'm not in tune with myself to feel safe unless everyone's approving of me and agreeing with me. So I have to bend all myself all over the place, like and fawn all the time. And so in order to change that narrative, I had to think about, okay, what is at the root of that? It's really wanting to feel a sense of belonging,
Mm.
right? It's wanting to feel a sense of connection. What about my sensitivity that could be perceived as a weakness, but what about my sensitivity could I perceive as a strength
Mm.
that allows me to connect and belong, right? So I thought about, I looked over my life and I was like, I really have a way of people come to me and talk to me in ways that they don't talk to others. Like they feel safe to open up, to talk about their feelings, to just put their guard down a little bit. And that creates a sense of connection. That creates a sense of belonging in that one-on-one or small group environment. And that's a strength. So I started looking at some of these qualities that I felt like, oh, these things make me weak or they make me fragile or whatever, and thinking about, well, these qualities also are strengths in these situations.
Mhm.
So in order to really teach yourself to see it as a strength, you have to shift your attention a little bit more to how can I take this quality and find as many opportunities as possible to act on it as a strength? How can I put myself in environments and relationships where I can practice this dynamic and stand on it as a strength and be more assertive with it? And so for me, what that looked like was I was writing and I was doing the self-discovery work. And I wanted to share it because people started to, oh, well, what you wrote really resonated with me. Can you tell me more about how you got there? And I was like, oh, yes, I can tell you all the things. And I felt like, wow, they're valuing this part of me that I thought was a weakness or that I thought I had to hide. Let me
Mm.
see how I can carve out more space in my life for these activities, practices, environments where these qualities are valued
Mm.
and appreciated. And how do I shape my life to reflect that? And that can be scary and hard because a lot of times we're looking to be valued in places where we're kind of trying to fit a square, what is it, square box into a round
A
hole, whatever
square
it is.
peg into a round
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. So, like at work, and I didn't even really realize I was doing it at the time when I worked in corporate America, I worked in financial services. So I was praised for, being organized and being helpful and qualities that I learned. I'm adaptable. I learned how to do my job well, but I wanted to bring more of that quality that I felt like I needed to hide into work. So I remember I started sending out these weekly motivational emails. I only did it for a little bit because I started to feel self-conscious about it and I stopped. But it was the beginnings of something. I wanted to say, like, okay, I don't feel like this job is really tapping into the best part of me, right? The part of me that is helps people develop, helps people speak from their deeper selves. How do I bring that into this job where I'm like a client coordinator?
Right.
Like, how do I do that? And I just started experimenting with ways to bring the qualities that I knew that I really valued and that made me feel alive and that made me feel inspired. How do I bring those qualities into these environments where they're not necessarily looking for that, but this is what I want to bring. This is
Yeah.
my wholeness. This is my whole package.
Mm.
So whether it was my job or certain relationships, just little by little bringing that in. And to bring it back to your question of how we can kind of reshape those narratives, it's recognizing the strengths that are in those qualities and finding opportunities in your life to practice and to lead with those qualities so that your emphasis is more on the narratives that empower you, the characteristics, the developing narratives around these characteristics that empower you instead of the narratives that disempower you. And for the challenges, I'll say this real quick too. For the challenges, the other side of that is learning how to better take care of yourself, right? So you're not bypassing the fact that, yeah, sometimes being sensitive is just hard. And like you
Yeah.
get your feelings hurt or, things happen and there's these challenging aspects of it. Sometimes you do get taken advantage of, right? Like some people, there are just like the unpretty side of it. So how do you learn while you're focusing on your strengths and learning how to build your strengths, you also have to manage the shadow side where you learn how to take much better care of yourself. And
Hmm.
that combination of things can then change the story you tell yourself about your sensitivity overall.
Yeah, you're really living that rewrite of the narrative.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that
Yes.
because it's all right. Just to layer it, okay, we definitely need to recognize that, yeah, sometimes being sensitive is hard. We get easily overwhelmed. Like you said, we get our feelings hurt. But there's also these beautiful elements of being creative, intuitive, empathetic. And I
Mhm.
love this idea of bring it forward wherever you are. Don't wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
oftentimes people don't realize what we're capable of. We don't even realize
Mhm.
it. But when they experience it, they usually love it. They love
Mhm.
those moments of inspiration or extra care or us taking up a little bit more space.
Mhm.
A lot of times it's not that people don't want us to take up space, we just don't do it. It's like
Hey, how about that? Yes.
invite yourself in,
Yes. Yes.
right?